Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. I look at the younger version of myself, hearing that, I'd be like, lean not on my own understanding. Who the hell am I supposed to believe? Everybody else is idiots. I'm the smart one. And I look back at my own naivety and laugh because lean not on your own understanding is, in my view now, as I've come to see it, it's such a simple thing to just say, you don't know enough. You really don't know enough. And to trust in God with all your heart, the truth, the deep truth. In my own experience, it's been really just going all in within yourself and growing in truth within and almost blocking out the world. Not where you're going out of way to block the world and not engage in the world, but going all in on you, going all in on your truths and your lies, because you know all the truth and the lies in your own experience. And a lot of the time in our world is people want to get pulled into the gossip about politics. What did this person do? What did that person do? And we want to make all these judgments, but the truth is we know so little. And to really know that in your heart is really a blessing because it forces you to, again, focus on all in on your mission. What are you here to create? What are you here to build? But so easily the mind will plant these ideas. Well, that person did this and that person did that, and quickly just becomes gossip. And much of the time, especially in these reality TV shows and these soap operas and all of this stuff, the soap operas become reality, and that's not how reality is. And most of it's just noise. And when you realize that, when you truly realize that most of it's just noise, and that most of the things, most things out there you're never going to know, it forces you to focus on that which you do. And I would say that when it comes to leaning on your own understanding, it's the 0.01% of your life that you should lean on your own understanding. This shirt is black. That's my own understanding, and I'll double down on that. But when it comes to 99.999% of things, all the things there are to know, trust in God. Trust in your own source within you and grow in that. Seek first the kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven within. Now, it's really so many of these quotes from the Bible are really just, a lot of them rhyme. And this very much is with the idea of seek first the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God within you, and then everything else will be given to you. How many times do we do the opposite? Well, I want the house, I want the car, I want the clothes, I want the titles, I want this, I want, instead of going the other way. Seek peace. Seek that internal peace within. Seek clarity. Seek wisdom. That's what King Solomon, that's what he sought. What a great thing to seek. Seek wisdom. Wisdom oftentimes it goes against knowledge. Knowledge and wisdom are very subtly different. Nothing worse than a know-it-all. And I think that's one of the cores of this. You can have all the answers, but wisdom, it does something different. And I'll end this video on this. There's a great scene in Good Will Hunting. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But I'm sure most of my listeners have seen, I've seen that movie. I'll make a bet. But there's a scene where Robin Williams is sitting with Matt Damon in the movie, and Matt Damon is playing a character, basically a know-it-all. And Robin Williams sits down next to him after they had a confrontation a scene or two before, and Matt Damon basically got in his head. And often, I mean, we can relate this even on an individual level, where our minds are almost at odds with our heart. And it leads to a lot of the suffering in our lives, right? Because we want to have an open heart. We want to be loving individuals, but you don't want to be a fool. And there's a balance between being a know-it-all, having all the answers, and being heartless, and just being in all the wisdom and the wishy-washy and being a complete fool. And that's, maybe one of the paradoxes as well, right? Being a fool for Christ. I often hear that. But in this scene, that Robin Williams basically humbles him with wisdom, that he has all of these answers within his head, all of his own understanding, but he hasn't lived it. So he's living all up here. How many of us are doing that today? Especially now with all the information that there is to be out there. There's so much information, so much. You're blessed if you see through the illusion of all this information. It's not to mean that there's great benefits of information. There's too much. That's the problem. There's too much information. And it's hard to realize what is true and what is not. And that's why I think there's a lot of forces that prey on that as well. The fact checkers and who fact checks the fact checkers. Ultimately, what we're witnessing, I believe, is this destruction of chaos of massive amounts of information. And I think in the core of that, there's a blessing that we are going to grow in wisdom. We're forced to go within the more crazy and loud it gets out there with so much information. But I hope you take away from that, what I took away from that is that we're not called to lean on our own understanding because we know so little. And what that allows us to do is become humble. And we're called, if we're those who are really trying to follow Christ, is to be humble servants. To be a humble servant is to be a strong leader. It doesn't mean you're an idiot. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. But you realize deep down how little you truly do know. And to the ego, that's the worst thing. The ego, a bloated ego would say. But to the ego that's integrated within yourself, it's just truth. Lean not on your own understanding. Trust in God. Trust in truth.